I'm Zenbach, and you are?
My name is Guy Pierno. I live in Montauk, and one of my passions in life is photography.
Photography. And I hear motorcycles?
And motorcycles also. It's interesting that most of my photography are landscapes. They're very serene, early in the morning, without people. But my eldest son, who's a New York attorney and would rather be a motorcycle mechanic, runs a festival every year in Brooklyn. This year it's called Moto Brooklyn, and it always turns out to be about motorcycles, about lifestyle, about people. And I decided that this year I would do a promotional piece for him, but the emphasis would be more on people. Even though they're pictures of motorcycles, if you look closely, it's really photographing the people. And I think that that turns out to be a very difficult task for most people. But you either want to engage the person or you want to be invisible. And the pictures that I have in this show, I think, reflect that.
I've worked with biker communities. We had a couple of biker rallies. I'm also a blues musician. And what I'm getting at is we're talking about a subculture. The bikers in themselves have a set of values, the ethics, a way of having a good time, known for a lot of charity. And you can look at a bike, but, you know, don't get to the point of harming that bike. Let's put it that way, because the bikes represent a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of personality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you the mic.
Sure.
I'm going to disappear behind the camera, and you can show us each photograph what's going on.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Give me a chance to go. Yeah, power.
Right.
Which one are you going to start with?
Okay, I'll start right up there.
Okay, here we go.
As you just mentioned, it's the bikes very much reflect the owner's personality. They're very much interested in it being a way of saying who they are, and additionally, it is also their tool. It's their transportation, it's their passion, it's their way of meeting other people and identifying those people. What I found interesting about this photograph is that this is the owner of the bike right there smoking a cigar, and his little Harley trike, I think it was a 1947 service car, three-wheel motorcycle. But if you'll notice, the cargo on this bike happens to be a six-pack of Budweiser beer. And of course, all biker shows involve bikes, beer, and to be a chauvinist and say babes too. But this was a picture of them talking about the bike. This picture below it was an individual who came in a tremendous rainstorm, and they came over from New Jersey. And they rode over, and he has some personalized parts that he's put on the bike. He made it himself. I believe he has machining skills, and he came with a large group, and I asked him to pose for the picture. The picture above, of course, these were just me snapping the picture. I was oblivious to them. This picture was shot under the elevated train in Brooklyn, and it's an old Indian motorcycle. But what I find interesting is that the people are all involved in something. There's a couple of guys moving through, and they're looking at all the bikes. There's a woman sitting in the car reading something with her elbow on these other gentlemen are describing this bike over on the side. So there's like involvement with the people, no involvement with me. They just thought I was photographing the bike, which was a beautiful bike, by the way. The picture above was a beautiful, what's called a rigid Triumph. I guess it would be called a chopper. It has a little spring seat. And the individual who owned this bike also owns a engineering or works engineering. It's a motorcycle customizing shop. And this bike reflects not only what he does, but it reflects his personality. So in going to the show, I took photographs, but I try to focus more on the people that were there and less on the panoramic views.
Blue collar?
The Blue Collar Band.
Blue collar band.
Yeah, we're going to be playing tonight at this event. And the Blue Collar Band is a classic rock band. I play drums in it. And we have John Havlicek, he's the keyboardist. And we have Pat O'Brien sitting on a bass right now. And Dave Cavalier is the new guitarist. So this is the first gig that we haven't, played in a while. So we're putting a new band together. And so we should have a lot of fun.
All right.
Okay.
I want to mention that you play drums, but that's not the real statement. You are a percussionist.
Oh, yeah.
There's more than playing drums.
Right.
I think you could probably play the wall and make sound out of it. start from here.
Okay, you look sharp.
They look sharp? They look good?
Yeah, you look good. You look like a million.
Yeah, you look pretty good, too. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, oh, we're on camera. Goodness, goodness. They see us.
All right, well,
Nick.
they can listen if they want.
Nick,
Yes.
I hear you're working on orange.
Orange and black.
Yeah, so.
Very Halloween.
Very Halloween.
In the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Was there a group called Smashing Pumpkins or something like that?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I don't think they got very far.
Probably not. If I liked them, they wouldn't have gotten very far anyway.
Yeah, I didn't like them.
Yeah, so, you
that's
know,
why I didn't.
no, don't sue us, guys. So here we are at Ashawaug Hall in the springtime, and we have new photography. Very big on the orange and very pumpkin-y. So you want to talk to me about pumpkins?
Well, pumpkins are not just decorative items. Besides the fact that you can eat them, they have a secret life. And you were mentioning that you had seen a bunch that were rotted and they looked like heads and stuff.
Yeah, at a town dump.
At the town dump, which is a great story. I found that when I cut into these things and looked closely, they had incredible personalities. Their interior was nothing like their exterior. So people put them on their doorsteps, or maybe they make a pie out of them. But they're very versatile, interesting objects. So I had a couple floating around, and they went through transitions where they got old and they started to fall apart. And then when I looked inside, it was almost like that old movie, The Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
Remember that? When
Yeah.
they go inside the human body
Right,
and
travel through the blood veins
yes.
in a little submarine or something
Right.
to fix somebody who's like a president or something.
Yeah, right. To mend something.
Do you think anybody would have fixed the president? No, all right, don't go there.
No, let's not talk.
Okay.
Your audience wouldn't like
No,
what I
I
have
wouldn't
to
like
say.
that. All right.
However, the pumpkins are a lot of fun, and they're almost anatomical. They're almost architectural, and this is sort of the secret life of the pumpkin. And I must say, I really enjoy them, and I'm pleased with this work. They're very colorful. I do like the orange and black, since you pointed it out, and that kind of sums it up.
All right, well, a couple of things I'm going to mention. Depth of field. It's a study of depth of field. And I'd have to ask you, what's your medium of camera on this?
What is the
Camera.
I use the Canon G11,
Okay.
which is it's certainly not a Nikon, but you get nice results. And yeah, and I'm pleased with what I was able to do with this. And the close-up shots are kind of nice too. I mean, this one in particular is, you know, it really looks like we're looking underneath a microscope to look at these things.
I'm an old Minolta 101 guy, you know, so we talk old technology. And I have a confession, all right? I hope nobody tries this, but I was in an electronics industry, and one of my jobs was filling the charts with red ink with a little needle, and these were charts for humidity and temperature charts in an environmental lab. And in the front office, the girls had pumpkins starting the beginning of October. And I would come in an hour early to do the shop check. These are old, long time ago. And I would shoot the pumpkins with the red dye. And I would do this every week. And then we got near Halloween, I took a little needle and would start sticking in the corners of the eyes of the painting, and they would blow out an orange weep, but because it was pumpkin juice, it would be like a bubble that would solidify. So I had, you know, it was a miracle of crying, bleeding pumpkins. I never thought that
pumpkins.
I never thought that somebody might want to eat them though. And now later I could have killed somebody.
Well, if it was icing, you know, you could have invented something.
That's true.
However, you were a little bit more nefarious, and you nearly possibly killed somebody.
I might have, you know.
Which is kind of in keeping with that dark persona that you
Yeah, I
carry
know,
around with you.
I know. I'm a very dark guy.
You are.
You know. I'm still waiting for my friend OJ to hit the list out of who did the murder of his poor wife. You know, so I'm waiting for that.
Well, when he comes to visit you next weekend.
Yeah, I will mention politics though. I did write Donald Trump a letter that since I've seen the birth certificate of Mr. Obama, our president, that I'm expecting to see the full tax disclosure and the names of the people working on all that. So he hasn't responded to me yet, but any day now, and I'm going to break that on this show.
Yeah.
You know,
when
so.
you see him, tell him that he's fired.
Oh, I will. I'd fire him too. You know,
I wouldn't give him a job.
I wouldn't give him a job.
He wouldn't accept one from me, I'm sure.
Really? Well, I don't know, you know. But I have to say, he wears his hair very interesting. It's sort of like an Escher artwork. Things go move around.
It's
and up.
like MC Escher on psychedelics.
You know, I think an aerial photograph of his head from a satellite would be really a great piece of work. Just a shot down. Think about it.
Yeah,
Think about
shot down sounds
Google it.
appropriate.
Google the Trump. All right, I got in enough trouble. So that's a wrap here at Ashawaug Hall in the spring show of spring. In spring.
You all come back now, yeah?
Well, we better. See? We did
It
it.
didn't hurt too much.
Nah. You'll have all these strange interviews when you get older.
I've got to have a change of scene. 'Cause every Thank you.